Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another sports stuff video. Today, we are talking about the Green Bay Packers and my offseason plan to turn them into the next NFC juggernaut. So, if you guys do enjoy, please like, comment, subscribe. Let's get into the video. So, Green Bay, they don't make any big major changes. They did obviously lose Jeff Hafley, which doesn't need to be talked about because they replaced him with Jim Leonard. And it's not an awful hire. It's definitely, in my opinion, probably a downgrade immediately. But I do think Packers are going to be on pace. I think they'll be about where they were last year at minimum. So let's talk about actual roster turnover and what we can do to turn this team around. First off, with cuts and/or trades, we were sitting at negative $1.5 million in cap space, so super easy to get back in that positive number. Next year, though, you get positive 84, and the year after, positive 157. So the only thing that we know we're going to have for the future is, honestly, Jordan Love. He's been dominant so far in his young career. The minute he took over that starting job, he's been a top-end starter, probably at the fringe top 10, somewhere in that 12 to 16 range, but still a very, very good and effective quarterback to work around. So we're pretty happy with that. Don't need to make any big changes at quarterback. Because of trades, we got a few. First off, I would want to trade Rashawn Gary. Rashawn Gary last year had 23 tackles, 7 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 25 run stops, and 54 pressures. He's been okay, opposite of Micah Parsons. Obviously, we only got half a season of it, but still, opposite of Micah Parsons, you want to be a little bit more explosive and take advantage of those one-on-ones, which he wasn't doing. Lucas Van Ness, he's been good, and he's still on his rookie contract. Rashawn Gary's getting paid a lot of money, so if we can move over Rashawn Gary's money, open up more minutes for Lucas Van Ness, opposite of Micah Parsons next year, I'm going to do everything I can to do it. So what we're going to be doing is trading Rashawn Gary to New England for a 2026 third, number 95 overall, and a 2027 sixth. And New England gets Rashawn Gary. So the Patriots, they get a starting pass rusher who, again, in a new system with a new coach talking to him. And honestly, I like Mike Vrabel. I think you'd love what Rashawn Gary can do with his power rushes. But he gets a new scenery and a new defense with different people talking to him in his ear, different guys calling plays. And the Packers, they open up that spot for Lucas Van Ness to take the full-time starter. And they get a third-round pick, top 100 pick. That's something I think absolutely is something that they would want to take advantage of. It's another top 100 pick. Then you get an extra 6 next year. That's not something to scoff at. But Rashawn Gary, 7 sacks last year for the Packers. If he can get 7 to 10 sacks next year with the Patriots, that would be a successful trade because he is an immediate impact guy at 29 years old. Next, some restructures we want to do is the first restructure is Jordan Love. I'm going to restructure his deal, open up about $8 million in cap space. Again, he's our franchise quarterback. He has shown that no matter what, he is a floor raiser when it comes to this wide receiver core. Lots of guys in this wide receiver core are going to be wide receiver 2s and 3s for other teams, but they're all kind of wide receiver 1s for Jordan Love due to how deep the well of mediocre wide receivers is for the Packers. They don't have that true dominant guy anymore, and they're just kind of doing a rotation of dudes, and Jordan Love still makes it work. Then Aaron Banks is signed as a guard last year. He's been a good guard for them. I'm going to restructure him, save $11 million in cap space, and call it a day, opening up $19 million in cap space, in addition to the $19 million that I opened up trading Rashawn Gary. So now we're at positive $43 million. I don't want to do anything else. I just want to get those deals done, because I think if we can get those deals done, enough cap space to re-sign and extend our important players and still be players in free agency. So the first re-signing I'm going to be doing is Kingsley Enagbare. Last year, Kingsley had 31 tackles, 3 sacks, 0 forced fumbles, 20 run stops, and 24 pressures. He's an athletic edge. He's shown growth in all aspects of his game, and with his limited snap count, he was still able to generate 24 pressures, 20 run stops, and 31 tackles. I think he's a high-end role player for this team. I want to sign him back with the promise of more snaps post Rashawn Gary, where Lucas Van Ness now gets that full 50 to 60 snaps a game, and Kingsley Enagbare can take Lucas Van Ness's old 30 to 40 snaps, so he gets more snaps a game. A new defensive coordinator can get get the most out of an athletic edge in Kingsley Enagbare. 1 year, $3 million to bring back a potential high-end role player that your edge number 3 who can take advantage of one-on-ones. I would love to get that for $3 million. Next is going to be Sean Ryan, their starting center. Yes, starting at center. Sorry, I had to blink for a second. This last year, he had a 59 PFF grade, 67 run blocking, 38 pass blocking, 5 penalties, and 1 sack. He had a quality season at both center and right guard. He kind of split between the two. He's played all over the offensive line. He's played both tackle positions, right guard, left guard, center, in his 4 or 5 years in the NFL. Starting experience everywhere. He's an athletic run blocker. Can get it for the really cheap as well. I want to get him extended so we know that our center position for the next few years is guaranteed to be good. Because with Elton Jenkins kind of, his hit or miss with his injury issues, I want Sean Ryan to be the consistent dude at center. So we're going to sign him to a 2-year, $11.5 million deal, $8 million guaranteed at 69% guaranteed. So it's not a big time deal, but it's definitely enough to get him to re-sign with the Green Bay Packers. Then some restricted free agents I want to tender. Kamal Hayden, Will Shepard, Donovan Jennings, and Bo Melton. Obviously, they all play different kind of positions. Kamal Hayden, I believe, is a linebacker. Will Shepard, I believe, is a backup defensive tackle. Donovan Jennings, I think, is the same. I think he's a corner, actually. And Bo Melton, wide receiver, converted the corner. These are all guys who are depth pieces at important positions on the football team. They get for under $1 million. Absolutely, I'm going to be tendering them. The first extension I'm going to be doing is Carrington Valentine. Carrington Valentine last year had 28 tackles, 0 interceptions, 5 run stops, and 4 pass breakups. Jeff Hafley has developed him nicely. He's now ready to kind of take over as like a true starting corner for this team. From a seventh rounder to a starter, he's a 3-down corner, has long arms, gets his hands in passing lanes, constantly is in the run game as well. This is someone that I think for the low, you can definitely extend, and at worst is a high-end role player. At best can be your starter at corner. So I'm going to give him a 3-year, $9 million deal. Wait, what? That doesn't make sense. Is that 19? What is that? 11, 15, 16. That's a 16. $9 million bonus. Sorry, I wrote down what I did. It's a 3-year, $16.5 million deal, $11.5 million guaranteed at 70% guaranteed with a $9 million signing bonus. So you get a starting boundary corner who's developed with the Green Bay Packers, and I think there's a team that loves to re-sign their own dudes. And Carrington Valentine has absolutely deserved the opportunity to continue his reign as that starting boundary corner for the Green Bay Packers. Next guy I want to re-sign is going to be Tucker Kraft at tight end. Tucker Kraft last year had 32 receptions, 489 yards, and 6 touchdowns. He emerged as this team's #1 option last year, but unfortunately, he did tear his ACL in November. So I think the team could wait for recovery because he is still under contract for 2026. But if you can extend Tucker Kraft and say, you know what, we know you're starting tight end when you're healthy. We're going to extend you right now for a good number. They could do that. I think that's what's most likely is they're going to extend him. I just don't think they're going to take the chance of him recovering and having an even better season than he did last year. And now it's going to be like an $18 million a year average. Instead, I'm going to give it a 4-year, $49.5 million deal. It's $27 million guaranteed at 54%. So it averages about out to just above $12 million a year. Again, if he has another good year, that could jump up to $16 or $17 million a year. I'm not willing to pay that for Tucker Kraft. I'm gonna get him for about $12 million a year and call it a day with a $15 million signing bonus. The true #1 option for this team. So entering free agency, you re-sign Carrington Valentine, you re-sign Tucker Kraft, you bring back Sean Ryan, and you bring back Kingsley Enagbare. So you add some starters back, you add some fringe role players, but in free agency is where we're going to add some key players that I think can make really big plays for this team. The first one I'm re-signing is Nick Westbrook-Ikhine. Last year, he had 11 receptions, 89 yards, and 0 touchdowns. He had a fantastic year in Tennessee in 2024. He was, I believe, he led the league in yards per reception. So I definitely want to get Nick Westbrook-Ikhine in a different scheme, in a different system. The Dolphins just cut him a day or two ago, so I want to get him on my team. He's a great deep threat. Come to a deep ball offense with Jordan Love, who loves to throw that deep ball. Spreads the field a little bit more. More than likely, they're going to lose Romeo Dobbs, who's more their slot guy. So we can get Nick Westbrook-Ikhine again here, use his speed and his after-the-catch ability to really make big plays for this offense. I want to get that for the cheap. So I'm going to sign him to a 2-year, $11 million deal, $6 million guaranteed at 54%. I'd like to get a big-time deal last year. Instead, signing a 2-year for $8 million, which was a steal of a contract, but the Dolphins just didn't use him. I think Nick Westbrook-Ikhine is a really good wide receiver, and I want him on any team that I can get him on. Next, give me Charlie Kolar to be our backup tight end. Last year, 10 receptions, 142 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He's one of the best run-blocking tight ends in football. There's a reason that the Baltimore Ravens kept Charlie Kolar, Isaiah Likely, and Mark Andrews all 4 years of Likely and Kolar's career. He has okay hands, solid route running, nothing crazy though. He's definitely more of a run blocking tight end. You can play more at 12 personnel effectively. He could resign to Baltimore since Isaiah Likely is probably going to walk for about $11 million a year. But Charlie Kolar, I just don't see asking for more than 4 or 5. So we're going to sign him to a 3-year, $13 million deal, $8 million guaranteed at 61%. Let's get a dude who, again, a really good run blocker, can pass catch as well, and has shown just every year after year growth in the NFL. Now, you do have Luke Musgrave as your backup tight end currently, so I do like Luke Musgrave. I thought he could have taken over, but we saw once that Tucker Kraft injury happened, Luke Musgrave did not take over as I thought he could. So I want to move. I'm not going to move off him, like cut him, but I want to add someone else to that room to add competition and who has proven that they're going to be viable at the NFL level. Next guy I'm going to talk about, the last guy I'm going to talk about is Benjamin St-Juste. Benjamin St-Juste had 27 tackles, 1 interception, 10 run stops, and 3 pass breakups last year. He's a quality vet nickel, just that nickel back corner, nothing crazy. Obviously, we saw him in Washington. He had a lot of issues. Goes to Los Angeles with Jesse Minter. Has a solid 2-year stint. And now he's hit the free agency market again. He was a good run defender. I don't think he's going to be a starter. He's going to be a high-end rotation guy who can back up that nickel slot position. He can kick the boundary if needed. But again, I want to keep him where he's strong. I want to keep him as that nickel. I'm going to sign him to a 2-year, $7 million deal. $3.5 million guaranteed at 50%. So again, no really big time deals given in free agency. It's more of adding on the borders of the roster. But these are guys I think could play high end moments for this roster. Some other free agent signs I'm gonna be doing is Agbonia Okoronkwo. This is adding a depth edge who's played a lot in the NFL. Has actually won a Super Bowl in the NFL as well with the LA Rams. He's someone that has been edge number 3 for a lot of different teams in the NFL. Let's get him here in Green Bay to add some depth. Troy Anderson, backup linebacker, has some solid years in Atlanta, but his last year had a really rough year, so he's going to be hitting the free agency market. Kenneth Gainwell, longtime backup running back for the Eagles and now for the Steelers. This is that third down back who can catch the ball, who can make explosive runs, can pass block. This does everything you want for a third down back, but not viable enough to sign to a long-term deal. Then Max Mitchell's our swing at left tackle. Currently you have Jordan Morgan who can swing out to left tackle. Max Mitchell, still only 27 years old, formerly high-touted right tackle out of college. Hasn't really made it work in New York, so we're going to take a swing on him as a potential swing backup for us. But here's what we do. Now at the draft, we're at positive $26 million. That is still a lot of money to go out and sign more players. But I was trying to be, smart and effective with our cap space. We have a good roster in Green Bay. We're just adding on to the depths of it, adding some good guys, good rotation players who can make big moments if needed. But a lot of it's going to be coming through the draft. That's what this team always does, is it develop through the draft. So that's what we're going to be doing. Positive $26 million in 2026, positive 66 next year, and positive 118 in 2 years. So in the NFL draft, here's where I decided to go. At round 2, pick number 52, I'm going to grab cornerback Chris Johnson out of San Diego State. This dude is a ball-hawking monster. He tons turnovers. He had 5 interceptions last year to 0 touchdowns allowed. He is a true dog. I have him as a first-round rated corner, so I think there is a chance he can sneak into the first, but the Packers can grab him at 52. This is someone that they can start for them day one. Day one starter, no questions asked about it. That's someone you can get in the NFL draft to start for you immediately. In round 3, number 84, I'm going to grab Deontay Lawson for Alabama. Really good player, good run stopper. Saw him that with Quay Walker walking, and I did not re-sign him in this video. I just wanted to add a high-end guy in this linebacker room. Highly touted out of Alabama. He was one of the signal callers for this defense. Again, very athletic. Can definitely be a good run stopper in the next level. So I'm willing to bet that is going to go higher than 84. This is off of his college and tape alone. But at minimum, I want to grab him to be my linebacker for the future, who can at least add some talent to this very, very thin linebacker room. Then with that traded pick of 95, I'm going to grab Markel Bell, the left tackle from Miami. Opposite of Francis Malgoa, it's kind of hard to look really good when you have, the top 10 pick opposite of you. But Markel Bell played very, very good at Miami. Someone that I definitely think is should go higher than 95. But because of, how deep this tackle class is, I do think he's going to slip. Only let up 2 sacks last year. Someone who's a really good run blocker, solid pass blocker. I think at worst, this is something you can develop over the next year or two and take the reins eventually. But at best, could compete with Jordan Morgan for that starting left tackle position. Then in round 4, number 120, I'm going to go Grayson Halton. Again, another really good run stopper. This division has a lot of really good running backs, whether it's Chicago with their run scheme, whether it's Detroit with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, whether it's Minnesota, who no matter who is at running back, this constantly churns out good yardage. I want to grab more run stoppers for this D-tackle room. Yeah, Devontae Wyatt, who I actually believe tore his ACL, if I'm not mistaken, last year. But Carl Brooks, Colby Wooden, a lot of good D-tackles drafted in this team already. Grayson Halton can just be another guy added that D-tackle room who I think can play high-end minutes for them immediately. Then in the 5th round, I'm going to take a shot on Drew Aller. Again, you have Jordan Love as your franchise quarterback. Drew Aller is another dude who loves to throw that deep ball, loves to contested catch guys. And that's something that Jordan Love does. So you don't really have to change a whole lot about Drew Aller on top of like, hey, his mechanics are a little sloppy. He needs to, know when to take checkdowns, not throwing in such tight windows. That kind of stuff, I do think Matt LaFleur can kind of teach. And I'm someone that really does believe in Drew Aller as a potential backup quarterback for the Packers. And that's a great system for him to land in to kind of learn, hey, yes, taking the deep shot is awesome, but you have to take those little shots as well. And he's coming off a torn ACL, so it does lower his draft stock as well. Then in round 6, number 200, I want to grab Chip Trayanum from Toledo. Great pass-catching running back. Was one of the best pass-catching running backs, honestly, in this draft class. Was top 25 in catches and yards as a running back. Good pass blocker. Just someone that for the long term can be your third down back, opposite of Josh Jacobs and Marshawn Lloyd. Then in round 7, number 236, I'm going to grab Malik Benson, a wide receiver from Oregon. Big body wide receiver, boundary guy, deep threat. Not much to really explain. It's a shot in the dark and another wide receiver. This team always has done well at drafting wide receivers, whether it's Dontavian Wicks, Savion Williams. They just always know when to grab these guys late in the draft. And I think Malik Benson fits the mold that they look for as a big body, deep threat wide receiver for this team. Then in round 7, number 254, I'm going to grab Keyshawn James Newby from New Mexico. This is a dude who churns out sacks at a really poor school in New Mexico. He had 12 sacks last year. Just someone, again, shot in a dark pass rusher to add to this room. You already have a very deep room with the additions I did of re-signing Kingsley Enagbare, having Lucas Van Ness. But you did trade Rashawn Gary. So Keyshawn James Newby can maybe get 3 or 4 snaps a game as a pass rusher and see what he can turn into. But it's a 7th round pick. It's just shot in the dark. Same with VJ Payne, a guy who's played nickel corner, strong safety, free safety. But I'm having playing strong safety, solid heavy hitter, knows a good instinct for the run lanes. So VJ Payne will be my backup strong safety. It's just a 7th round pick, nothing to really talk about. I like it. With Chris Johnson, Deontay Lawson, Markel Bell back-to-back. Those are either starters immediately or high-end role players with high projection. Drew Aller, backup quarterback, and a lot of this shots in the dark at depth in the later of the draft. So I like it. Nothing too crazy. But here's my projected depth chart for the 2026 season with this draft and free agency. At quarterback, you have Jordan Love and Drew Aller as your backup. At running back, you have Josh Jacobs, Marshawn Lloyd, Kenneth Gainwell, and Chip Trayanum. I like it. You have physical running backs. You have third down running backs. I like it. At tight end, Tucker Kraft, Luke Musgrave, Charlie Kohler. Again, a very solid tight end room. Luke Musgrave just had a chance to take over that Tucker Kraft role and didn't really take the opportunity to the best of its ability. So we had to invest in Charlie Kohler behind Tucker Kraft. At wide receiver, Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, Matthew Golden. Hopefully year 2 of Matthew Golden and is getting more targets. He'll be able to shine a little bit more. But right now I am a little worried. That's why I added Nick Westbrook-Akine and Malik Benson to the backups of Dontavian Wicks and Savion Williams. And Dontavian Wicks did an amazing job in replacement of Christian Watson last year. I do think he will get a lot more snaps than people want to give him credit for. At offensive line, at left tackle, I think it is going to end up being Jordan Morgan, their former first-round pick from Arizona, who's currently the backup right tackle. I think they are going to keep him out the left tackle and see what's in him. Then you have Aaron Banks, Elton Jenkins, Sean Ryan, and Zach Tom. Sean Ryan can play center if Elton Jenkins goes down with injury again, with Anthony Belton playing snaps at right guard this year. So you have depth at the offensive line. Then behind Zach Tom, Travis Glover, solid backup right tackle. But all that matters is the depth at tackle. Max Mitchell, Markel Bell, Travis Glover. Those are 3 very high-end role-playing tackles immediately. With Max Mitchell, lots of playing experience. I do think that this is the offensive line. That if this is the moves that happen, this is what you would see the offensive line look like. With Max Mitchell being that swing tackle and Markel Bell being probably the 53rd man roster. Sorry, the 53rd man on the roster. Then at D tackle, starters are Devontae White and Carl Brooks, with backups of Colby Wooden, Warren Brinson, Nazir Stackhouse from Georgia, and Grayson Halton, who you just drafted. That's good pass rushing D tackles, run stopping D tackles. We just got to stop the run as best we can in this division. Then at edge, you have Micah Parsons and Lucas Van Ness, with Kingsley Enagbare backing up Lucas Van Ness and getting those third edge snaps, with Colin Oliver, Baron Sorrell, and Keyshawn James Newby as your backups. Then at linebacker, Tyron Hopper and Edgerrin Cooper, your starters, with Deontay Lawson, Isaiah McDuffie, and Troy Anderson as your backups. I do think Deontay Lawson could maybe compete for that starting role at Mike, but Tyron Hopper, he's been there longer. He had a really good season this last year. I just don't see him losing that battle. Then at corner, Carrington Valentine, Keyshawn Nixon, Javon Bullard are your starters, with Nate Hobbs, Bo Melton, Chris Johnson, and Benjamin St. Juste as your backups. Again, I think Chris Johnson could push for a starting job, but we're going to put him as a backup as of right now. Then at safety, Evan Williams, Xavier McKinney as your starters, with Keaton Oladapo and VJ Payne as your backups. Keaton Oladapo had a really good season out of Oregon State this last year. I do think he's a really good safety, and hopefully he can get a little bit more playing time this year. But yeah, it's a solid roster. You know, no big name additions, but you fill out the roster, right? You fill out the depth that's needed. You add a wide receiver, you add a tight end, you add your defensive line room. Secondary gets a boost of talent as well. I like it. Would it be a 13 or 14 win team? It is kind of all dependent on the health of the wide receiver core, because that's kind of been what's been dependent on the last couple of years. But yeah, I think they could easily win 12 or 13 games with this roster. But if you guys enjoy, please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know in the comments down below how many wins you think this team could get to. Honestly, I think 12 is the max. You know, I think that 10 to 12 range is where you'd feel comfortable with. But if you guys enjoy, please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Peace and bye.